Speaking out, a Taiwanese legislator's revelation opens up the debate on abuse, as new research reveals 1 in 5 Taiwanese women face domestic violence. In deep water, Taiwan's Human Rights Commission slams the fishing industry's treatment of migrant workers. Blossoming friendship. What's behind Lithuania's strident support for Taiwan? Presidential recognition. Taiwan awards Oscar-winning director Ang Lee for his contributions to Taiwanese culture. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Yin Khvat. Gao Jiayu, a legislator for Taiwan's ruling Democratic Progressive Party, has filed a report with the Taipei police accusing her boyfriend of domestic abuse. The story has shocked the country, where Gao is famous not just for her political career, but also her sizable following online. TaiwanPlus reporter Peachy Zhuang has more.
Images that stunned Taiwan. Photos showing lawmaker Gao Jiayu's injuries after an alleged assault by her boyfriend. Gao has accused Lin Bingshu of hitting her repeatedly, following an argument before barring her from leaving the hotel room the couple were staying in last month. Gao shed tears as she described what happened.
这过程中我不知道该怎么办。当下其实我整个人就是脸肿到我自己都不知道我是谁。 嘴巴里面都是血，然后他也勒着我的脖子，然后我都觉得我快死了。
Lin was taken into police custody early on Wednesday morning.
我想说议员动粗啊，要不要检视一下？没有，不要拍不雅影片。小心，4点8分都打，没有。
Premier Su Zhenchang condemned the violence.
谴责任何暴力。 男人打女人更是猪狗不如。
Female lawmakers from ruling and opposition parties have been quick to express their support for Gao.
所有的暴力发生都是不对的，不论她是立法委员，或者是只是一般的女性。
不管是怎样，我还是鼓励她要勇敢的哈，还是最终还是要爱自己多一点。
Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen has signed a new bill into law, taking aim at stalking and harassment following a series of high-profile incidents of violence against women in the past year.
有了这部专法，未来对于不当的跟踪及骚扰行为，公权力可以提早介入，提早防范危害。在这条路上，我们永远可以做得更多，做得更好。未来我们会持续的努力，让全体的国人的生活更加的安全，更加的安心。
With the new law now in place, Taiwan has taken a positive step towards strengthening legal protections for women. But Gao's case proves that even those in powerful positions are not immune to domestic abuse. The hope is that it can spark a wider conversation about violence against women and how Taiwan can do more to help victims. Kamashi and Peachy Zhuang for TaiwanPlus.
The issue of domestic abuse is in the spotlight following Gao's revelations. It comes as the Health Ministry released its latest survey detailing how 1 in 5 adults are emotionally or physically abused by their partner. Sandy Chi has this story.
It's a topic often kept under wraps in Taiwan, but domestic violence is now one of the most talked about issues, with the public confession of a famous lawmaker that she is a victim. The allegations made by 41-year-old Gao Jiayu have made headlines and raised questions over why domestic abuse is so prevalent. A health ministry survey revealing that 1 in 5 women experience abuse.
那很多的权衡之下，他在整个社会文化之下，他觉得被害人或是他的亲密关系的被害人是他的财产，是他的东西，他的人，所以他可能理所当然就会对他有一些施暴或控制。
The Taipei Women's Rescue Foundation, a non-profit organization that helps female victims of abuse, confirms the survey's findings. It says intimate partner violence is one of the most common forms of abuse. The Health Ministry's survey also found that emotional abuse accounts for 17% of the violations. But the foundation says there has been progress in fighting the problem.
现在台湾的通报或求助的暴力的严重性比往年来其实是还要轻的。就是他有意识到自己遭受到约会暴力或是 家庭暴力的时候，他可能在发生第一次、第二次，他就会求助了。
They say, while raised awareness and a more open society help empower those who are vulnerable, more has to be done.
有一部分可能就是要对全台湾的一些人民做性别暴力的一些宣导跟教育的部分，让他们知道我们所谓的暴力零容忍。
Giving the sense of the courage of those who speak up will help those who are in an abusive situation to take control of their future. Klein Wong and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Japan's former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has warned China's President Xi Jinping that any war with Taiwan would be economic suicide. Abe made the remarks during a forum held by the Taiwan Institute of National Policy Research on Wednesday. He also urged Xi not to misread the situation across the Taiwan Strait, noting that any conflict would be of serious concern to both Japan and the US.
台湾有事、それは日本有事です。すなわち日米同盟の有事でもあります。この点の認識を北京の人々は、とりわけ習近平主席は断じて見誤るべきではありません。
Taiwan's National Human Rights Commission has identified the plight of migrant fishermen as the most pressing issue facing the country's fisheries. Taiwan's distant water fishing fleet, the second largest in the world behind only China, is crewed by some 20,000 migrant fishermen, mainly from the Philippines and Indonesia. However, they are paid less than half of Taiwan's minimum wage and are often subject to exploitation and abuse. Last year, the US government classified fish caught by Taiwanese flag vessels as products of forced labor. Chen Ju, head of the commission, said Taiwan must meet international standards.
国家人权委员会一再要强调，人权无国界，大海也没有疆域，渔船在海上必须面临全球渔业治理的这个规范的要求，台湾一定要面对。
For more on human rights aboard Taiwan's fishing fleet, Ryan Ho-Kilpatrick spoke to Cho Xiaoqi of the Environmental Justice Foundation.
It's always very good to have their attention on these problems, because they can definitely also mobilize the other governments department to kind of work together on this issue, which is really needed to have more cross-governmental collaborations. And the report they published yesterday also pointed out many key problems, like the payments issue, the debt bonded issues. We have seen some industry members try to give better protection and welfare for their workers, and for them to compete with others that only wanted to exploit their labor. It is unfair for them as well. So really increased protection and a more comprehensive, well-designed legal framework and a properly implemented would be the way forward, and it's good for everyone.
The Commission has made a number of recommendations in its report. Do you think these go far enough, and what still remains to be done?
I think one thing they can be more clear would be the debt bondage issues, which really is a main element for these people to be a victim of human trafficking. So they have to pay the so-called security deposit or guarantee money to their recruitment agencies to make sure that they will finish the contract. And after they finish the contract, the money will be returned to them in theory. But a lot of cases that we found is they just don't, first it might be they don't know what fishing is like, so they wanted to quit and go home, but because of this money they were forced to finish their contract in a pretty miserable environment, and a lot of time would be like accidents or just mental or physical pressure on them. And we also have lots of cases that even they have finished the contract, they return back to Indonesia, but their agency might just disappeared or went bankrupt. So the money just gone. And that really is a key element of human trafficking that we see on the Taiwanese distant water fishing vessels.
The European Union is planning to mobilize up to $340 billion of spending in infrastructure and other projects to respond to China's Belt and Road Initiative. The new Global Gateway Plan follows a US-led Build Back Better World project announced at the G7 summit in July. The initiative will include spending on digital, transport, energy and health projects across the EU. The CEO of COVID vaccine producer Moderna says existing vaccines are less likely to be effective against the emerging Omicron variant of coronavirus. Stefan Bancel also told the Financial Times that it will take several months for companies to update their vaccines to handle the new variant. The emergence of Omicron has brought fresh fears to governments globally. A number of countries have reintroduced bans on incoming passengers and outlined plans for new vaccine mandates. The WHO classified Omicron as a variant of concern last Friday after it first appeared in countries in southern Africa. Coming up, we speak with Eric Huang, Taiwan's very first representative to Lithuania. Details after the break.
Hello, Taiwan. I'm Dr. Jane Goodall. I'm so very happy to see Taiwan sharing its wonderful stories with the world. I've been fortunate enough to visit Taiwan on many occasions, and I've been to several different parts of the country. So I know firsthand something of the beauty of its wildlife and the marvelous people who are working to save these places. So good luck with this wonderful program.
And I want to know, what do you want to see more of on TaiwanPlus?
Hello, I'm Fabio Grandjean. Taiwan to the world, see you on TaiwanPlus.
Congratulations to TaiwanPlus.
Hello, Taiwan. I'm Mike Yamashita, National Geographic photographer. My stories have been as varied as the landscape itself, from Taiwan's top 10 tourist attractions to oolong tea, aquaculture, and the Taiwanese fishing industry, and most recently, the Daijia-Mazu pilgrimage. From TaiwanPlus, I would like to see stories on more of the same, about the varied cultural and historical aspects of the country.
Taiwan to the world, see you on TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan to the world, see you on TaiwanPlus.
Hello, Taiwan. I'm Baron Wanga, and greetings to you all from my humble homeland of Nauru. It's a worthwhile and appropriate platform whereby the unique perspectives of the people of Taiwan are portrayed and presented honestly. Taiwan to the world. See you on TaiwanPlus.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Lithuanian MPs are on the third full day of their trip to Taiwan and will attend the Open Parliament Forum, which begins tomorrow. Ties between Lithuania and Taiwan have warmed, and as James Chater reports, for one Lithuanian MP, it's all down to a shared sense of history.
Lithuanian MPs arrived in Taipei this week for a democracy summit. in the latest expression of support from the small Baltic state of nearly 3 million people.
We are here to express our solidarity with you.
Over the past year, Vilnius has become a vocal supporter of Taiwan on the international stage. Lithuanian MPs currently visiting Taiwan have struck a defiant tone despite threats from China and Beijing's recent decision to downgrade diplomatic ties with the country. But what's behind Lithuania's strident support for Taiwan, as tensions with China are at their worst in decades? For Lithuanian MP Laima Andriukina, the answer is rooted in her country's own struggle against authoritarianism. In 1990, it was in this hall, the Lithuanian parliament, that the country became the first republic to formally succeed from the Soviet Union.
This one. I'm here.
Here, Andriukina points out her own signature on that bill that made Lithuania's independence a reality. And it's her memory of that historic day for Lithuania and the parallels she sees in the threats from the Soviet Union then and China today that motivates her support for Taiwan.
And if I am not wrong, my first visit was 25 years ago, when I was a minister in this country, Minister of European Affairs.
Photos of previous visits to Taiwan proudly occupy the walls of her office. She has been at the center of the Lithuanian push for closer exchanges with Taiwan and is a member of the Lithuanian Parliament's Taiwan Friendship Group.
And you know, Chinese, they are not talking about right balance, about, you know, bigger influence of them. They are talking about domination. And the goal of the strategy is to de-Atlanticize the world, to cut off ties, to weaken European Union and United States of America, to cut off ties.
30 years have passed since Lithuania's independence, but the shadow of authoritarianism from Russia, and now Belarus, still hangs over Vilnius. And it's against this backdrop that warmth toward Taiwan has grown.
Who is now Minister of Foreign Affairs, Speaker who was also a member, a lot of members of Parliament, half of the government. All those people was sitting, for you to imagine, at Friday evenings, and we was discussing what's happening in Taiwan.
The youngest Lithuanian MP currently visiting Taipei is just 29. So Andriukina's legacy of friendship with Taiwan looks set to pass on to the next generation. Patrick Chen and James Chater for TaiwanPlus.
As we heard in the previous report, Taiwan and Lithuania share similarities in their histories. This month, the Baltic state became the first country in Europe to allow the opening of a Taiwanese representative office. Eric Huang, Taiwan's representative to Lithuania, explains why the relationship could be a model for other countries' ties with Taiwan.
We are on the front line defending the world's freedom and democracy. I think the shared value is one of the great momentum behind the strengthening of the relationship between Taiwan and Lithuania. The development of our relationship could also set an example for a lot of countries in pursuing relationship with Taiwan and also in restructuring the supply chain globally.
One of the latest things that China has done is to suspend visas to Lithuanians.
I think the opportunities arise not because of the downgrading of the relationship between China and Lithuania, because Taiwan and Lithuania share the same values. You can count on Taiwan as we function based on the same free economic principles. By strengthening our relationship, we are structuring resilient supply chain. We are not going to abruptly kind of punish our economic partner because of some political incorrectness. I think trust is also a very important element, especially in the current digital economy. By linking up with the supply chain of Taiwan, I think the products of our economic partners can also be trusted.
In particular, are there sectors that are particularly attractive to doing trade with Lithuania?
The agricultural produce of Lithuania is of the highest quality in the world. Lithuania is the second largest fintech hub in Europe, next to London. The laser industry, electric vehicle industries, and other engineering services. And additionally, I think semiconductor, they also have very good electronic manufacturing.
The U.S. state of Michigan is coming to terms with America's latest school shooting involving a 15-year-old boy. Authorities said a school teacher was among those injured in the attack at Oxford High School. The teenage suspect was arrested without resistance after firing 15 to 20 shots in the space of about 5 minutes. He is believed to have acted alone. President Joe Biden was told of the shooting as he visited a technical college in Minnesota.
I learned about a school shooting in Michigan. We learned, as we learned the full details, my heart goes out to the families enduring the unimaginable grief of losing a loved one.
U.S. pop star Rihanna has been made a national hero of Barbados on the same day that the country became a republic. The honor was given to the artist, whose full name is Robin Rihanna Fenty, by Barbados's Prime Minister in the singer's hometown of Bridgetown. Rihanna has long championed her home country on the international stage. In 2018, she was appointed an official ambassador for Barbados's culture and youth. While bestowing the honor, Prime Minister Motley quoted one of Rihanna's songs, saying she hoped the singer would continue to shine like a diamond.
This is a day that I would never ever forget. It's also a day that I never saw coming. Barbadians are proud people, you know? We are probably the proudest people I know. And no matter where I go in the world, I take that pride with me. No matter where we go, the world is going to know that we Beijing to the bone.
Banana weaving is one of Taiwan's most precious cultural assets. This unique craft is intricate, labor-intensive and exclusive to one indigenous group. TaiwanPlus reporter Alex Cheng has this story on how one woman is devoted to keeping this cultural heritage alive.
Patiently weaving tiny strands of banana fibers together. This 83-year-old woman has repeated this action back and forth for more than 20 years. For Yan Yuying, this is one of the final steps in banana weaving. Her craft starts from chopping and preparing the trunk, then slicing it to extract the threads before they are dyed and weaved. It's a technique that is unique to her Gavalan indigenous community in eastern Taiwan.
Gavalan人就做这建筑师啊，目族拢无就对啦，啊继续爱推落去才袂断去安尼。
Yan took up the traditional practice at the age of 62. She is determined to pass it on to the younger generation and gives classes at elementary schools in Hualien and Yilan County. Yan Yuying's dedication to this dyeing craft was recognized by the Ministry of Culture this year. She was given the title of Conservator of Preserving the Traditional Arts. For Yan, this is not just about preserving a craft. It's also about promoting the identity of her indigenous community.
我是噶巴兰人啦，我的噶巴兰名做查讲，言语音姓严玉英。
She is now the only certified expert in banana fiber weaving that still practices the craft. But she hopes her efforts will leave behind a new generation that will keep this special Gavalan tradition alive. Kama Xu and Alice Chen for TaiwanPlus.
President Tsai Ing-wen has recognized Oscar-winning director Ang Lee's contribution to Taiwan culture. The director received the Presidential Culture Award from Tsai at Taipei's Grand Hotel, featured in one of his best-known movies, Eat, Drink, Man, Woman. The biennial awards recognize achievements in 5 categories, including innovation and community building. Lee said he was proud of his Taiwanese heritage.
非常的光荣，我也谢谢文总对我的肯定。我是一个非常典型的综合文化、多元文化的一个综合体，根底就是我台湾的养成，还有我在这边培训出来的一种个性。
And Ang Lee's Renowned Father Knows Best trilogy can be watched in full and online for the first time on TaiwanPlus.com during the TaiwanPlus Film Festival. Here's a sneak peek.
We're witnessing the results of 5,000 years of sexual repression.
Thanks for watching Taiwan Plus News. I'm Yin Khvat. We leave you with footage of the first wingsuit pilot ever to fly in and out of an active volcano in Chile. For more stories from Taiwan and around the world, please download the Taiwan Plus app. Stay safe and see you next time.